The Lost Colony's discovery. Captain Elena Vasquez stood at the observation deck of New Geneva Station, watching the twin suns of Kepler 442 cast their golden light across the thriving colony below. 150 years had passed since the last transport ship left Earth, carrying 20,000 colonists to this distant world. What was meant to be humanity's first interstellar expansion had become something entirely different. The communication array suddenly burst to life with an urgent tone that Elena hadn't heard in decades. Zara Kim, the station's communications specialist, rushed to her console with practiced efficiency. Her fingers danced across the quantum transmitter controls as she worked to decode the incoming signal. "Captain, you need to see this immediately," Zora called out, her voice trembling with disbelief. "It's from Earth. After all these years, they're finally responding." Elena's heart raced as she approached the communication station. For generations, the colonists had sent messages home, sharing their discoveries and achievements. The silence from Earth had been deafening, leading many to believe that humanity's birth world had faced some terrible catastrophe. The holographic display flickered to life, revealing a tired-looking man in what appeared to be makeshift military clothing. His face bore the weathered look of someone who had endured years of hardship. Behind him, Elena could see the ruins of what might once have been a major city. "This is General Harrison Blake of the Earth Resistance Movement," the man began, his voice heavy with exhaustion and hope. "If anyone from the Kepler colony is receiving this transmission, please respond. Earth has been under occupation by the Dominion Empire for 147 years. We need your help." The message continued with devastating revelations. The alien Dominion had arrived shortly after the colony ships departed, overwhelming Earth's defenses with superior technology and numbers. Humanity had been enslaved, forced to work in massive industrial complexes that stripped the planet of its resources. The aliens viewed humans as a docile, pacifist species suitable only for manual labor. Dr. Marcus Webb, the colony's xenobiologist and former Earth military officer, joined Elena at the communication station. His expression grew increasingly grim as he listened to the transmission. "They don't know," he whispered. "Earth doesn't know what we've become out here." Elena understood his meaning immediately. The Kepler colony hadn't simply survived in isolation. They had thrived beyond anyone's wildest dreams. Free from Earth's political constraints and bureaucracy, the colonists had pursued scientific advancement with unprecedented focus. Their quantum drive technology surpassed anything Earth had possessed at the time of departure. Their energy weapons, developed initially for asteroid mining, could penetrate any known shielding system. "Continue the message," Elena ordered, her mind already racing with possibilities. General Blake's transmission revealed more disturbing details. The Dominion considered humans so harmless that they maintained only a minimal garrison in the Sol system. Their overconfidence had grown over the decades, as no human uprising had ever posed a serious threat to their occupation forces. "We've managed to build a small resistance network," Blake continued, "but we lack the technology and firepower to challenge their control. If any human colonies exist beyond Earth, we're begging for your assistance. The quantum burst coordinates attached to this message will allow you to reach us." The transmission ended, leaving the command center in stunned silence. Elena looked around at her officers, seeing the same mixture of shock and determination in their eyes that she felt in her own heart. Commander Torres, the colony's military leader, stepped forward. "Captain, we can't ignore this. These are our people." "I know," Elena replied, studying the star charts that showed the route back to Earth. "But we need to understand what we're up against." Zara worked frantically to analyze the quantum burst data embedded in the transmission. "Captain, I'm detecting multiple alien communication frequencies throughout the Sol system. The occupation force appears to be substantial, but their technology signatures are primitive compared to what we've developed." Dr. Webb pulled up holographic displays showing the colony's current military capabilities. Over the decades, what had started as a peaceful scientific outpost had evolved into something far more formidable. The colonists had built a fleet of 30 advanced vessels, each equipped with quantum drives capable of crossing interstellar distances in weeks rather than decades. The Dominion doesn't know we exist, Webb observed. They probably assume that any colony ships never reached their destinations or failed shortly after arrival. We have the element of complete surprise. Elena walked to the massive viewport, gazing out at the shipyards where sleek vessels hung in space like silver eagles ready to take flight. Each ship represented years of innovation and human determination. The colony had faced its own challenges over the decades: hostile native wildlife, severe weather patterns, and resource shortages that had forced them to develop remarkable technological solutions. "How long would it take to reach Earth?" she asked. Torres consulted his tactical displays. "With our quantum drives, approximately 3 months. But, Captain, we'd be taking our entire defensive fleet. If this is some kind of trap." "It's not a trap," Elena said with conviction. I could see it in that man's eyes. Earth is suffering, and they need us. The next several hours were filled with intense planning sessions. The colony's leadership council convened to debate the unprecedented decision. Some argued that they should remain hidden, protecting their own people rather than risking everything for a world that had forgotten them. Others insisted that humanity's birthworld could not be abandoned in its darkest hour. Dr. Webb presented his analysis of the Dominion's technology based on the intercepted communications. Their vessels appear to use conventional fusion drives and particle beam weapons. Our quantum-enhanced shields should provide significant protection, and our graviton pulse cannons will be completely unknown to them. "What about their numbers?" asked Councilwoman Park, the colony's chief administrator. "Difficult to determine precisely," Webb admitted, but the transmission suggests they've grown complacent. They're not expecting any serious resistance, certainly not from an advanced human fleet arriving from deep space. Elena addressed the council with passionate conviction. "We didn't come to Kepler 442 just to hide from the universe. We came to ensure humanity's survival and growth. If Earth falls completely under alien control, if our species becomes nothing more than slave labor, then what's the point of our survival?" The debate continued through the night, but gradually consensus emerged. The colony would send its fleet to Earth, not as conquerors seeking revenge, but as liberators coming to free their enslaved brothers and sisters. As the council session concluded, Zura approached Elena with another intercepted transmission. This one was in the alien language, but their translation computers had been working to decode Dominion communications for hours. "Captain, you need to hear this," Zura said, activating the translator. The alien voice was cold and mechanical as it discussed routine patrol schedules and resource extraction quotas. But one phrase stood out clearly: "The human livestock continues to provide adequate productivity levels." Elena's jaw tightened at the dehumanizing language. "How long until our fleet can be ready for departure?" 72 hours, Torres replied. "We'll need to fully stock our ships with supplies and ammunition. This won't be a short campaign." As Elena prepared to leave the command center, she paused at the viewport one final time. Tomorrow, the Kepler colony would begin preparing for the most important mission in human history. They would return to Earth not as the desperate refugees who had fled over a century ago, but as humanity's salvation. The twin suns were setting over the colony's sprawling cities, casting long shadows across the landscape that 20,000 humans had transformed into a thriving world. Soon, 30 ships would leave this sanctuary, carrying with them hope for billions of enslaved humans who had never imagined that salvation might come from the stars. The Dominion Empire had made a critical error in their assessment of humanity. They saw only the conquered population of Earth, broken and demoralized after decades of occupation. They had no idea that human ingenuity and determination had been growing stronger in the depths of space, preparing for this moment of reckoning. Elena smiled grimly as she thought about the surprise waiting for Earth's alien oppressors. The galaxy believed humans wouldn't fight back, but they were about to learn the truth about human resilience. The children of Earth were coming home, and they were bringing the fury of the stars with them. The return of Earth's children. 3 months later, The Kepler Liberation Fleet emerged from quantum space at the edge of the Sol system, their advanced sensors immediately beginning to map the alien occupation. Captain Elena Vasquez stood on the bridge of the flagship Resilience, studying the tactical displays that revealed the extent of humanity's enslavement. Earth hung in space like a wounded jewel, its surface scarred by massive industrial complexes and mining operations. Orbital platforms surrounded the planet like a steel web, each one bristling with Dominion weapons and processing facilities. The sight filled Elena with a cold rage that burned brighter than the distant sun. "Sensor analysis complete, Captain," reported Dr. Webb from his science station. 43 Dominion vessels in the system, ranging from patrol craft to heavy cruisers. Approximately 200 orbital platforms, most concentrated around Earth and the asteroid belt mining operations. Commander Torres studied the enemy positions with a tactical officer's eye. They're spread thin, overconfident. Most of their heavy ships are stationed near the outer planets, managing the resource extraction operations. Earth itself has only minimal orbital defense. Because they don't expect any threat to come from Earth's surface, Elena observed. They've grown complacent after nearly 150 years of unopposed occupation. Zara Kim worked frantically at her communication station, intercepting and decoding Dominion transmissions. "Captain, I'm picking up something interesting. There's mention of a productivity review scheduled for tomorrow. It sounds like they're planning to reduce rations for the human workers again." Elena's expression hardened. Every piece of intelligence they gathered revealed new horrors of the occupation. Humans had been reduced to nothing more than industrial assets, their lives measured only by their usefulness to their alien masters. "Begin Phase 1, Elena ordered. Silent approach to the outer sensor networks. The Kepler fleet moved through space like ghosts, their quantum stealth systems rendering them invisible to Dominion sensors. The aliens had never encountered technology like this. Their detection equipment was designed to track conventional fusion drives and metal hulls, not the exotic matter composites and quantum signatures of the colonial vessels. As they drew closer to Earth, more details of the occupation became clear. The planet's population had been concentrated into massive labor cities, while vast automated systems stripped away natural resources. The Amazon rainforest had been replaced by a continent-spanning strip mine. The Sahara Desert now hosted enormous fusion reactors that powered the Dominion's industrial operations. "My God," whispered Dr. Webb as he studied the surface scans. "They've turned our entire world into a factory." Elena forced herself to focus on the mission rather than the devastation below. "Have you located the resistance transmission source?" "Yes, Captain," Zara replied. "The signal originated from somewhere in the ruins of what used to be London. I'm detecting multiple human life signs in underground facilities beneath the city. Can we contact them without alerting the Dominion?" "Affirmative. Our quantum communicators should be undetectable by their monitoring systems." Elena nodded to Zara, who began transmitting on the frequency General Blake had provided. Within minutes, a response came through, and Blake's weathered face appeared on the holographic display. His eyes widened in amazement as he took in the advanced bridge of the Resilience. I can hardly believe it," Blake stammered. "You actually came. When we sent that transmission, we hoped against hope that someone might hear us, but we never imagined." "We're the Kepler Colony Liberation Fleet," Elena announced. 30 ships, fully armed and ready to begin the liberation of Earth. We need to coordinate our attack with your resistance networks." Blake's expression shifted from amazement to cautious optimism. 30 ships, against the entire Dominion occupation force. "I admire your courage, but, General, our technology has advanced considerably beyond what Earth possessed when we departed," Elena interrupted. "Trust me when I say that 30 of our ships will be more than adequate for this task." Over the next several hours, Elena's fleet coordinated with resistance cells across Earth. The plan was audacious in its simplicity: simultaneous strikes against the orbital platforms and command centers, followed by direct support for uprising in the major labor cities. As the fleet prepared for battle, Elena reflected on the irony of their situation. The Dominion had conquered Earth because they possessed superior technology and firepower. Now, that same dynamic was about to be reversed, but this time it would be humans wielding the overwhelming advantage. All ships report ready, Captain, Torres announced. Weapons charge, stealth systems at maximum efficiency. Elena took a deep breath, knowing that the next few hours would determine the fate of humanity. Begin the liberation of Earth. All ships, engage your targets. Aboard the Dominion command ship, Admiral Thex stared in disbelief at the tactical displays, showing his forces under attack by unknown vessels. What are those ships? Where did they come from? Unknown design, Admiral. His sensor officer replied with barely controlled panic. Their technology signatures don't match anything in our databases. They appear to be using some form of quantum drive system and exotic matter weapons. Impossible, Thex snarled. Humans don't possess such technology. They're barely capable of maintaining their industrial assignments. But the evidence was undeniable. One by one, Dominion platforms were being destroyed by an enemy that remained virtually invisible to their sensors. The aliens had built their occupation strategy around the assumption that humans were a primitive, pacifist species incapable of developing advanced military technology. On Earth's surface, resistance cells launched coordinated uprisings in 12 major cities. Human workers who had endured decades of slavery suddenly found themselves armed with weapons delivered by precise drops from the Liberation Fleet. The Dominion garrison troops, accustomed to managing docile laborers, found themselves facing organized military resistance for the first time in their occupation. Elena watched the tactical display as her ships systematically dismantled the occupation infrastructure. The Dominion vessels that attempted to engage were outclassed in every category: speed, firepower, and defensive capability. Their conventional weapons couldn't penetrate the quantum-enhanced shields of the Kepler ships. Captain, we're receiving a transmission from the Dominion command ship, Zora reported. Put it through, Elena ordered. Admiral Thex appeared on screen, his reptilian features twisted with rage and confusion. Unknown vessels, identify yourselves immediately. You are interfering with legitimate Dominion operations in this system. Elena stepped forward, her voice carrying the authority of someone who had spent months preparing for this moment. I am Captain Elena Vasquez of the Terran Liberation Fleet. We are the children of Earth, returning to free our homeworld from your occupation. Impossible, Thex hissed. Humans are incapable of such technology. You must be some other species masquerading as the local livestock. We are human, Elena replied coldly. And we are no one's livestock. You have exactly 10 minutes to begin evacuating your forces from Earth orbit, or we will continue destroying your ships until none remain. Thex's laughter was like grinding metal. You have 30 primitive ships against the might of the Dominion Empire. Even if you possess some advanced weapons, you cannot hope to match our numbers and experience. You're right about one thing, Elena said with grim satisfaction. We can't match your experience in enslaving peaceful populations, but you have no experience fighting an enemy with superior technology and unlimited determination. The communication ended, and Elena turned to her crew. He's calling for reinforcements from the outer system. All ships, prepare for full engagement. Show them what humanity has learned among the stars. The battle that followed would be remembered as the moment when humanity announced its return to the galactic stage. Dominion reinforcements arrived to find their orbital infrastructure in ruins and their garrison forces in full retreat. The Kepler ships moved through space like avenging angels, their quantum drives allowing them to appear anywhere on the battlefield without warning. As the last Dominion vessel fled the Sol system, Elena received a transmission from the surface. General Blake's face appeared on screen, but now he was standing in bright sunlight rather than hiding in underground bunkers. Captain Vasquez, Blake said, his voice thick with emotion. On behalf of the people of Earth, I want to thank you. After nearly 150 years of darkness, the sun is finally shining on a free world again. Elena nodded, but her expression remained serious. The liberation is just the beginning, General, the Dominion will return with larger fleets. We need to prepare Earth's defenses and begin sharing our technological advances with the resistance forces. Understood, Captain. What are your orders? Elena looked out at the blue marble of Earth, seeing beyond its scars to the potential that lay ahead. We're going to do what humans have always done best. We're going to rebuild, adapt, and make sure that no one ever again mistakes our kindness for weakness. The Kepler Liberation Fleet had accomplished what many thought impossible. They had proven that human ingenuity and determination could overcome any oppressor, no matter how powerful. The galaxy had believed humans wouldn't fight back, but Earth's children had returned from the stars with the fury of a species that refused to be enslaved. As rescue ships began evacuating liberated humans to receive medical treatment and the first steps toward rebuilding began, Elena knew that this victory was just the beginning. Humanity had rediscovered its strength among the stars, and now it was time to reclaim its rightful place in the galaxy.